So this is the Langhorne, PA Days for Girls proprietary mask pattern. It's form-fitting and has a removable filter. 2 pieces to it, 4 pieces actually, cut into 2. You have 2 pieces of flannel and 2 pieces of cottons. So we're going to start at the nose curve. All the seams are 1/4 inch. We're going to do that's the inside piece. This is the outside piece. You want to always trim as you go. So you want to take your flannel and fold under a 1/2 inch. To the inside, and then you're going to stitch that at a 1/2 inch. Somehow the threads always want to hang on to everything. Why is that? Static electricity. Okay, so it's going to look like this. And now we're going to clip our curves about 3/4 inch apart on the flannel inside piece, wrong side, and the outside cotton about 1/4 inch. You want to take your finger and finger press that so that it lays to one side. So the point here on top stitching the outside is that you're just having it more body to the piece. So I pushed it to the right side, and now I'm going to top stitch that just at an 1/8 inch. And it doesn't matter if you catch the under pieces or not. It's really just to give body to that curve, to make it stand away from the face. So already it's starting to take shape. You're going to do the same thing with the flannel. We clipped it, and now you're going to top stitch it just an 1/8. And again, I just take my finger underneath and make it all lay to the right side. If you're left-handed, you probably want to make them lay to the other side, the left side. It's just so if you make them both lay to the same side when you put them together, then they're going to lay to different sides, and it'll make it nice and flat to sew over. So here's your outside piece and your inside piece. Now we're going to put them together. When you're sewing the two, the cotton and the flannel, you always want to stitch on the cotton side. Find your seam, go through, and pin it right on the line. So you want your seams together. So we're going to turn it over, and we're going to sew on the cotton side because your flannel stretches. So you just want to lay it there. Start out at the end because that'll make it easier to lay on future steps. So again, you want to do 1/4 inch. And yes, I do sew over. I'm just sort of moving that with my fingers to have it lay there, to get the curve. So here's your piece. Now you want to take your fingers and again push that in so that your flannel's laying against the cotton and have that lace smooth against it. In some instances, your flannel might stretch and be a little bit longer on the bottom. Don't worry about it. Let that extra hang over because it'll just add body to it when we turn it. So again, start at the very end and I'll show you why. Now, for some of you that are unsure, you can put your second pin right at the seam, but I'm pretty certain it's going to come out at the right spot here. Again, sew the whole way to the end. Let's get these guys here. Up. That's why we always have two pieces. So now you're going to turn it. This is what it's going to look like from the inside. So you have your inner flannel. The inside piece is much shorter than the outside, and you'll see why when we put the casing in. So I'm not going to clip these curves. We're just going to turn it. And then take your finger, your thumb on the inside and smooth that out. And that'll make it easy that it'll roll over. Do the same on the bottom. In essence, you're finger pressing it rather than taking it to an iron and pressing it up. Okay, I always work from the top down. That's your biggest curve. So you're just sort of manipulating that under, and you're only going to top stitch it at an 1/8 inch. So now when you started here at the end, that shows you where to roll that under, and it makes a nice guide for you. So that additional stitching helps make it easier. Again, just sort of manage it over that bump with your fingers. Here we're going to look for our stitching guide on the inside, and that's where you're going to roll it. So that's your top stitch, and now we're going to do the same on the bottom. Again, sewing from your cotton side. So here's where we stitched ahead of time, so that just gives you a nice guide to roll that over. Start at the end. You just sort of want to manage it over that seam. So I'm going to roll that under with my finger. Again, it's nice and flat. Just a couple more steps and we're done. So normally it takes me maybe 12 minutes. This might be a little longer, but here we still have a couple threads. So here's your piece, and we're almost done. Somebody said it looks like a bra. It does, because it has a princess curve. So this is another little tip for when we turn and put the elastic casing in. So you're just going to stitch as close as you can, fold that under as close as you can, an 1/8, 1/16, it doesn't matter. Same thing on the other end. Just fold it under a little. You don't have to back stitch. There's no pressure point there. This machine loves to throw the tail in there. So we only have one more step. Here's your form-fitting mask, and you'll see the curve here. That's what makes ours exclusive to us, because that pulls under the chin and gives a nice tight fit. Again, the curve here pulls it close to your face. That's why our mask is different and safer than the other ones that are out there. So one more step. Your inside looks like this. We're going to take our elastic, get a 12-inch piece, a 24-inch piece that you're going to just cut in half to make a 12-inch piece. This is the gratifying part. You're just going to lay it in there, and you're going to take your end piece, take it over just to the casing at the end of the flannel. And here's where you're going to back stitch, because it's a pressure point. That's going to pull on the elastic, and you're going to back stitch here also. We have one more sewing step and we're done. Not difficult, not stressful. We're going to make it the best that we can. And as we go along, it'll get a little better. One more step. You're going to lay it down, put your elastic in there, lay it over. You want to make sure you don't catch your elastic. Some is wider than the other that we're using. And here you're going to back stitch on the end, back stitch at the top, check it out to see if any of those threads are still hanging on. Here's a little one. And here's our form-fitting mask. The last step is you're going to tie a single knot in the end. And we were putting the knots in, but we're going to leave the knots out. You want to pull that as tight as you can, because the person that gets this on is going to adjust that there. So any questions, call me. It's easy, and we're doing it for a very good cause. It's Steffi Spade, Langhorne, PA, Team Days for Girls, team leader. Thanks.